Hello everyone, Hachadino over here, and today we are doing a big update to our Abyss Stacker, Flicker Strike, Warden, huge damage, huge everything. We have done absolutely anything that you would want to do in the game. Here's 17s, we can do Ubers, of course, but this is because we have a ton of damage. So even with my current gear, I can upgrade a lot of things, mainly survivability and also damage, of course. And we are, of course, elemental based, so you can use some tricks to get the damage even higher, like the Doriani Merc and then using Admiral. I may do a showcase of those after a bit, but my mercenary right now is not equipped for those kind of things. I'm going to show him off a little bit later. But first, let me show also some clips how bossing goes more or less. I don't have a tier 17 clips because I don't really like doing them, and there is nothing crazy on those. Now, I did explain my strat to make currency, and you can see over here, we do Abyss with Conquer and Shaper maps. All the Elder maps we send to our mappers because I don't really like doing them. And now let's go into the clips themselves. I have two clips. One is Phoenix in a tier 16.5, let's say. It's quite weird that I get those, but they give a lot of currency. And in this map, I got the gold thing, and I got like 100k gold. It's not going to be a long clip, let me tell you that. And this is how bosses go. You use breathing jars, as I already explained, to get the spirit charges, even in boss fights. And thanks to our mercenary with two of the rings that take worms, you also keep those spirit charges even on bosses, but I don't even have time to stack my unbound avatar most of the time that I do normal bosses. This one, of course, I have stacked it from doing mobs before, some mobs before, and here we come with Assassin's Mark. And then he dies, and then the bosses that get there also insta die. Might as well kill the essence that is there, and that is how most of those go. Now for an Elder Slayer's invitation with around 89% quantity, was it, I think. I kind of do a little bit of a trick also. My mercenary puts some ground that makes their action speed go quite slower. And you can also see that I have my frenzy charges and my spirit charges from using two breathing jars, and then I change to one normal flask and one breathing jar just in case I get hit. I get hit quite hard here actually, you can see. But thanks to Immortal Call, we don't die. We destroy Britannia. You can see that I still have 18 spirit charges from killing the worms from my mercenary and myself. And then even Drox dies quite easily. Tier 17s, it's mostly the same. If you are a bad player like me, you will die sometimes in the Ziggurat and Abomination things, and maybe you Krangle Abomination because you leave the things in the wrong place. Fortress, we actually kill the interface bosses super easily because they get frozen and then they just insta die. And for most of other overs is more player skill because the DPS is way over what you need. Now into the character itself. Let me put myself in D&D just in case. We are level 95 Warden, Achat Secrets. We have enough intelligence to use our chest and enough strength to equip our axe. You may need to equip some Abyssals with the stats or get some of these stats. And because remember we use the Joke of Suffering, I did explain a little bit on the other video, but we want also some poison on hit, and here some bleeding on hit. This is to enable poison and bleed, because remember the ailment has to be done from you. Now our run graphs are the +1 to all non-exceptional support gems. People have said to me that this one doesn't work, but they will fix it eventually, I guess. And buffs and debuffs on you are 30% slower. That is why in my path of building, I leave trauma at 20 because you can get to 20 quite easily with this. Normally, without it and not leeching, you don't get to 20. Remember, we do a lot more damage while leeching because we have Feed the Furies. Most of the time, we are leeching because of the trauma hits, but my idea is also to go Petrified Blood. Right now, I'm not because I still want to change some other things. As for the gear itself, an axe with Fortify. My idea is to get also, this is only 900 DPS, I know only, but still with the Fortify, it's quite a strong axe. Ideally, what you want is a very, very strong axe, and then you double corrupt it for Fortify and Inspiration. Those are the two good ones, but sadly, if you get Momentum, it's better if you sell it, because Momentum doesn't work with Flicker Strike. We also have our Warrior's Legacy, likely duplicating our damage, mainly because remember Flicker Strike already got use of this ring quite a bit, and I did a showcase in the last video also. What this does is makes our strike skill hit twice. I'm going to show you very fast with, for example, a double strike, or you can even check with like in a strike if you want. Say something a little bit more meta. Now, the first time you hit, nothing happens. But the second time, you can see here that I have like a ghosty. And it used to be that you need to move a lot, but only now you need to do like 2 or 3 steps. Like, you see? That is something that people can use with Bone Shatter and things like that to get a lot of DPS from this ring alone. Or if you're a Berserker, you can also get the Ascendancy. But I think Berserker has way better Ascendancies than that one. Although it's 20% more attack speed. Very good. Also frees up a ring. Now for all my other things, as you might expect, we are going full in Light Poacher. As you can see, I have 19 Spirit Charges. And thanks to Bubonic Trail and Shred of the Lightless, we get a lot of power. Mainly Bubonic Trail is to get this efficiency, move speed, and also reduced duration on us. You don't really need super crazy rolls on this because as you can see I have quite a bit of extra mana. When I change to Petrified Blood it will be a little bit different. But at that time I will get this Leader of the Pack cluster, so I also can reserve Petrified Blood in my life instead. That or Herald of Purity. Now, as for other things, we do need to leech, mainly because otherwise you would run out of mana, unless you get a Shaper Seed on your Mercenary, and it regens quite a bit of mana, so that is fine. You also get some attack damage as leech, so you get that leech is instant to get some kind of very strong feedback on your Feed the Furies and also that. My clusters as always Feed the Fury, Blood Scent, and then a filler. A filler can be at by the week, Martial Prowess, or others. Just remember to check with a cool tool that I will make a video one day, or with Path of Building, how it spreads. That way you don't need to use 7 points to fill the good ones, you only need 5. This is good because we use 3 clusters right now. And this enables, of course, we go for all of the frenzy charges, and we also get some cool life nodes. I did drop thick skin, sadly, but it's still very good. Now for our defenses, we are mainly using evasion and normal resistances. As you can see, there's a lot to be gained. We can still get suppressed. And of course, chaos resistance. Other things, also my mercenary, I left him here kind of in his corner alone because he's very annoying. He just pops a lot of worms.
Yes.
And let me take his rings off so he's not annoying. So these rings are called Scarement Terrors. They drop worms every 2 seconds. And when you kill these worms, you get spirit charges. I have this one over here that has Grace, an aspect of the spider. aspect of the spider with Venomous Shroud, make it so enemies do less damage, and also have minus 10 to all resistances. This is of course including chaos, but we don't really care about chaos that much. Per kill so make it so my damage is lucky. Eye of Malice makes it so if I make the enemy's resistance negative, I can make them even more negative. What this means is if I scorch an enemy twice, making his resistance go below that his normal resistance, he also gets minus 10 from Venomous Shroud, and eventually I will also put an extra curse and get elemental weakness, so it's even less resistance and it goes even lower. He has a Heartbreaker for cooling strike, nothing crazy. You can get a weapon with our effect or things like that for your mercenary, and then Chaos Binding, so mobs are less powerful with their physical damage if they are near my mercenary. He also has some fugitive boots, get some resistances, and a shield is also nothing crazy to get resistances. This is very strong defensively. They get less action speed general, and then grace and aspect of the spider. Of course, you can get grace effect on both the rings and also the neck and even the belt. Get a super strong grace on our mercenary, and also you can get him at level 83, so his grace and other spells are stronger. In my case, I was a little bit unlucky because I use hatred, but he has double brutality, so the damage that he does is kind of not that strong.
I've killed with worse.
Of course, another one that you can use, take the rings off again so it's not annoying, is a War Priest. War Priest can use, of course, Doriani. And with Doriani, you would use the Admiral to get resistances on that. You can also use Owls. Remember, Owls give you some damage depending on the socket. And also minus 10 to all resistances. Also Sing of the Ether or the Scepter that gives Malediction if they are blinded. And then you just need to blind them. It's very strong also. And this is kind of the one that I was using for a while because Smite also is very good. And he also has Purity of Lightning. It's never bad. Now let me put the rings again so I don't forget.
Yes, that'll do.
And now I will go into Path of Building. I will of course leave the Path of Building itself in the description. I left some notes and I'm also going to read them to you. But let's go into it. So this is our character right now. Achat Secrets. This is of course without any of the effects of our mercenary. I will eventually do one with those, but implementing delves is like with a party thingy, and I'm not that proficient in that. So this is everything that we have right now. You can see also on my other place. And how can we get more juice from this? Well, first of all, as you might expect, you want a big weapon. I also have to use tempering orbs on mine. I forgot to remember. Then you can of course corrupt your helmet for +1 power charge. And if you get that power charge, I think I cap crit. Yep. Stronger tinctures. Remember, my tinctures are a huge deal of damage. As you can see here, I get 59,000 yes from my tinctures. Like if I disable them, I do 16 million. But if I enable them, remember we are Warden, so we always have them enabled. If you don't know how Warden works, you have this one over here. That makes it if you at least get 12 burn, they get kind of a remaining time while you have them enabled. And here, of course, you can have one additional tincture. You also get one additional Scorch and Unbound Avatar. This is, of course, something that we enable while we have up all of the charges. And if you enable this, your damage almost doubles. Now for things that may be weird or something like that. Rage 30. You have 8 rage per hit. So we cap rage in around 2 seconds or something like that. That's why you could also enable Berserk all of the time, kind of. There's a special trick also with a rune graph that there's like 20% chance to not get a cooldown, and that also works with Berserk if you are like that. And my Berserk here, as you can see, is not enabled. If we enabled it, we do quite a bit more. My Assassin's Mark is standalone, no mark on hit. We don't have enough place. I already want to take the Golem off because he dies a lot, and put an animate Guardian with a lot of other support things like Garb of the Ephemeral or Kingmaker, things like that. He will die, but as you can see, most bosses don't even get to hit us that much. So while he's alive in the instance, going to be very strong. My supports are not even leveled, and I don't have a Awakened Multi-Strike yet. Oh, whoa, me, right? Can't spend 90 divines in a support gem. While we get these Awakened gems up, it's not going to be crazy, and you can see that trauma and close combat are almost the same. Even close combat is a little bit stronger. So if you don't really want to deal with trauma, in the future it will be better because we will have more attack speed from our Abyss Jewels. The ones that I have right now, some of them are kind of good, but not all of them. Some of them are very vanilla, like some physical hits, some attack speed, and something like that. Others are just flat damage and multiplier. You can get some of these, it's not bad. But ideally, you want like the perfect one that I did before the leak. You would want life, multiplier, attack speed if you have dealt a critical strike recently, and then um, physical with access. Ideally, you get the 6 mod one and you get some extra things, but those are the perfect ones. Of course, it's very hard to get those, and I'm farming Abyss for that reason. You can also get some accuracy on those, or use tattoos. The tattoos that give more damage, most damage, sorry, are the ones for mark effect right now for me. But you can also put some accuracy one to drop the golem itself, or you can change the golem from the ice one to the flame one, or to the other one, or you can even use a chaos golem to get some chaos resistance. Right now I have minus 60. That is something to fix. Another thing that we can get a lot of damage from is our ring and our gloves. My gloves right now are super, let's say, basic. I was thinking on going CI, but I thought otherwise in the end. And you can see my gloves are just some extra additional target, some conversion to lightning, and some conversion to fire. If you get double frenzy ones, they're going to be a lot of damage, or you can even get some Admiral's Arrogance gloves that with good attack speed and good +1 skill gems, and they are a huge deal of damage. And you can even corrupt them for an extra frenzy. My goal, of course, is to get a +2 frenzy gloves, but that's something in the future. That is the guide itself. I don't want to take more of your time. For the ending things, I'm going to explain a little bit of the notes, so you can skip this if you want to just put other things. Now, frenzies most of the time are gotten from getting them on kill and on hit, from getting the blood rage and popping them with breathing worms, and the mercenary. I'm also going to put and the mercenary rings, and this can make us get most of the charges even while we are hitting the bosses. As you can see in the Elder Slayer script, I even ended with 18 charges while I was hitting the boss fully. Vicious. You can use 2 Writhing Jars if you want, or 3. I do recommend using 2 to stack prior to the boss, and then you can change for a normal flask. You can get a strong unique flask on your last slot, like Bottle Fade, Atsiri, Lion's Roar, even the wine of the whatever it's called. I'm likely going to go for Progenesis eventually, because dying is the only thing that kind of stops your damage right now with how much damage we have. And when we get a super axe, we will get like almost 1 billion damage. That will be kind of enough to most bosses, I think. And then, of course, I'm going to put the mercenary things eventually. Remember, this is a long leak, and we are only on the like second or third week. As for Immortal Call and Endurance charges, remember, we have no issue generating them. In extra level, we hit ourselves with Trauma, and we get those. Also, another thing that I want to try, but I still haven't done, is you can get Iron Reflexes. With the extra grade from the Mercenary, you get like 30k armor. Very strong against Trauma, and maybe if we have a lot of attack speed extra and get to like 30 stacks, we may need to do that to not kill ourselves. That is the one that you have right now. Have a nice day, and I will see you on the next video.